Good evening, everyone. This is Rugio Duelist back with another video. I will be doing another deck profile on my Floowandereeze deck. Moving forward, this channel will be more so like a deck profile channel moving forward, but not just for this deck. I will try my best in the future in these upcoming months to throw deck profiles with tier 3 and rogue decks. This one is probably like high tier 2 or lower tier 2. It's literally like right now one of my favorite decks. I got top 4 with this deck recently at locals in a case tournament in conjunction with the remote duel YCS. I was not a part of that, but again, reached top 4 with this deck. Floowandereeze, I think it's a very underrated deck. It can get away with some wins. Fun fact, so I'll try to be brief about this. I fought 3 Sword Soul players, I believe 1 PK Enforcer, 1 Dinosaur player. That was in top 4. I lost to that player, and I believe I fought Evil Live Twin. I fought against a player playing that deck and I won. All right, so let's get started with the deck profile. Let's start with the main deck this time, then the side, and then the extra. So to start things off, I play 3 copies of the Godbirds of this deck, literally. Just like last time, again, I believe this is the right ratio. I may bump Rise up to 2 or M-Pen to 2. It varies. You can run 2 Rise and 1 M-Pen, or 2 M-Pen and 1 Rise. Take out the Apex Avian, but I think one of each is perfectly fine. These are my 3 Godbirds. After that, of course, we play 3 copies of Floowandereeze and Rabina. She is the searcher for the little birds, every single little bird in the deck, including herself. Yes, she searches for herself. And then we play, of course, 3 copies of the other Extender and Searcher, aka Floowandereeze and Eaglin. Searches for the 3 big birds in this deck, basically the Godbirds of this deck. Then we play 2 copies of Floowandereeze and Street. Yes, I bump it up to 2. I honestly think that 2 ratio, with the way the competitive scene is right now, is the best ratio for this archetype. 2 Street. I used to run 1. I strongly believe in the past that 1 was perfect, but honestly, I think 2 is definitely the better ratio. You need to see those cards as soon as possible. If like this card gets sent to the graveyard in any way whatsoever, you can still use the other one to banish it, or like do banish shenanigans and combo off from there. Then we play, of course, the 1 Toucan. With this card, we're playing like 9 little birds in the deck and 3 big birds. That's a total of 12. So again, you know what Toucan is for. Recycles the Floowandereeze banish cards. Great for the grind game. Then we play 1 copy of the Barrier Statue. I believe last time I played 2, I down it down to 1. That makes any sense? You can play 2. Again, I tried making it a 2, but sometimes this deck does brick. And sometimes I even get this, but it is what it is. Maybe you can set up a trap, and well, summoning this is actually good. It can stall the opponent out, but again, there are so many cards that can out the squig, like an Imperm, a Valor, or a Chalice and a Forbidden Droplets. But that's what the other cards come in handy. All right, let's move on. We play, to round up the monsters, we play Triple D Shifter, the other God card of this deck. This card is so good in this deck. Literally, you play this going first or second in your opening hand. You can win the duel in like your next upcoming 1 to 2 turns if you play your cards right and if your opponent doesn't disrupt your plays. All right, onto the spells. So we play 3 copies of the Field Spell, self-explanatory. That hasn't changed. 1 Terraforming, believe that hasn't changed either. 1 copy of the Continuous Spell. Then we play 3 Dualities, self-explanatory, and we play even more pots, aka 3 Prosperity. And now we're playing this back again. I used to play this before. We play 2 copies of the spell card, Jack in the Hand. This card is very good, very, very underrated. You resolve this like turn 1 or turn 2 in the early on in game, you are guaranteed to get a bird. And if you have the field spell, it combos out perfectly. Plus, if you play this in conjunction with Duality and Prosperity and all 3 resolve, I'm pretty sure that 9 to 8 times out of 10, you will get your combos off. You will resolve your combos going first. So very underrated card. Until we get the quick play spell, this card, I believe 2 is a good ratio for this card. Maybe bump it down to 0, cut it out completely, or maybe just bump it down to 1, because even if with the new quick play spell, this card is so good. But yeah, moving on. Then we play 1 Call by the Grave. Decided to put this in because the hand traps is just, they're just ridiculous. It's still ridiculous how just one, sometimes even just one hand trap can stop this deck from going off. So I needed to put this back in the deck. It's a one-off, but like, if you get it, you get it. And then we play 3 Book of Moon, just like last time, but this time we are adding in a slight twist. We're playing 2 Book of Eclipse. The same thing as Book of Moon. It does the same, puts just everything face down, yours and your opponent. It's true that your opponent draws cards at the end of during the end phase, but having 5 books instead of just the usual 3 in the deck is so much better, plus the Call by the Grave, so it's like having 6 to resolve your monster's effects. Now, some of you might be asking, why not 3 Book of Eclipse? I tried 3 and 3, and even 1 Call by the Grave. The deck can break. The deck can break if you play 6. I've tested it out thoroughly. I think 5 books and 1 Call by the Grave is good enough. And to round out the spells, we play 1 Cosmic Cyclone. So one of the players who I fought in yesterday's tournament, which was yesterday, was the case tournament. Also the remote duel, he IO'd me, and I was like, yeah, he was going first and he IO'd me, so this card, it can come in handy if your opponent IOs you and like you just chain this and get it out of the way, because that card is really ridiculous right now. It's doing a lot of it is doing a lot right now in the game. That's it for the spells, and for the traps, which is the shortest lineup, the 1 Floowandereeze in the Dreaming Town, aka the normal Floowandereeze trap, and triple copies of Evenly Matched to break the board, because if this deck goes second, it is truly bad, and you need to and if you resolve this, you can pretty much combo off going second. Extra deck, we play 1 Zeus, 2 of the Lyrillus to attack, and you put it on top. 1 Downer Magician to have 4 materials. 3 Kikinagachi Fucho. This is the same thing as these 2. It can save you from getting OTK'd. 1 Lyrillus Ensemble Robin. Again, not letting your opponent summon. 1 Secure Gardna, 2 Linkuriboh, 2 Elder Entity Entis. Fun fact, I resolved this in one of the games against my opponent, so I send these to the graveyard, and I believe he was running also the Dogmatica package. He forced me to send these to the graveyard, and I ended up popping 2 of his cards, which was great for me. This, if it gets sent to the graveyard, I can like spin a card back to the opponent's deck, and this, if I can manage to get it out, like banish the opponent's back row, that almost never comes into play. And finally, for the side deck, play the 2nd copy of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Raigeki to break boards, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More to break boards. Then we play this new tech. I might main or side deck all 3 copies of this card moving forward. This card helped me win at least 2 games. It's very good. If you resolve it against PK, which or like even Sword Soul or some other decks that most decks rely on the graveyard these days, like this card can be godly. It can also be a brick, because I tried resolving this against dinosaurs and it really doesn't harm it. It really doesn't. I thought it would, but no. Still a very good card nonetheless. Then we play 2 copies of Enemy Controller, aka Econ. I'm still testing it out. It's not the best, but it's good enough for what it is. Then to round up the final 5 cards, we play 2 copies of You Can't Play Yu-Gi-Oh! If you control a bird, and 2 copies of No to most decks who run a specific type of card. Oh, I almost forgot. And the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for back row. And the final card would be Red Reboot. I never resolved the Harpy's Feather Duster or the Red Reboot. Surprisingly enough, there weren't like that many back row decks in the tournament. Surprisingly enough, I also didn't resolve these. I believe I only resolved Heartbeast Featherstorm once, but yeah, and that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed this. For any people who are diehard Floowandereeze players, well, there's a deck profile for you. Again, moving forward on this channel, I will be doing probably mostly deck profiles for tier 3 and rogue decks mostly. If I have to do like a tier 1 or 2 deck, it will be just this one, because this is the one that I really have a personal preference for. So that'll be all. So you all have a great evening, and play if you can.